All right. Number one, state the relation and solve for x. So we're in between the two parallel lines, so these are alternate interior. They're inside your parallels, in between them, and they're on opposite sides of your transversal. So they're alternate interior. So we got 12x minus 2 equals 70. Add the 2. Divide by 12, and you get 6. Now on 2, they're on alternating sides of the transversal, but outside of the parallel lines. So that's alternate exterior. So those are equal. Subtract 135, you get negative 10. Now on 3, if you were to picture taking the top intersection and just sliding it down, that 133 would land right on the negative 5 plus 23x. So those are corresponding. Those are equal. Add your 5. Then divide by 23. And when you divide 138 by 23, you get 6. Now 4, here we go through a vertex, we go through an intersection. That's a vertical angle. It's called vertical because you go through a vertex, not because it's up and down. So those are equal. Oops. Those are equal, I just said, but I tried to add them. Subtract the 117, and you get negative 12. On 5, though, these together they form a straight line, and you could probably get away with calling it straight line. Linear pair, though, we didn't do as much of these. So they add up to 180 since they form a straight line. So we'll combine that 112 and the 75 into 187. Subtract your 187, negative 7. Now 6, again, if you slid that top part down, they would land right on top of each other, so those are corresponding again. Those are equal. Subtract the 37x. 39 minus 37 is 2. Add your 2. Divide by the other 2. We get 3. On 7 again, we're back to alternate interior. Those are equal. Minus the 14x. Add the 5. We get 9. All right. Oh, and those are alternate interior. Now 8, 3 angles of the triangle add up to 180, so we just add those up. Combine all those numbers. 54 plus 45 plus 85 is 184. Minus the 184, negative 4. Same idea on 9, add all those up. We'll combine all our like terms there, all the plain old numbers. We get 189 minus your 189, negative 9. Now this one's a little different. We got some stuff outside of these triangles. But the 65, we want the angle inside of our triangle. So if we go through this vertex, vertical angle, that means this is 65. Now it's just the same as before. We add all those up. Then combine our like terms. 190 minus your 190, negative 10. Now on 11, we have another, hey, you're going through a vertex. We go through that intersection. That's a vertical angle. Those are equal. So in that bottom corner of your triangle, it's 5x plus 10. But now for the top one, that's a straight line. So 180 minus the 110, that's 70 in there, since they form a straight line. And then again, do it all over again. So that's 120 minus the 120. You get 6, divide by 5, 12. Now on number 12, isosceles triangle, we follow our equal sides to the ends. These two angles are equal. So this is x. And then, I mean, it's just the same thing again with your 180. This time we got 2x plus 50. 180. X plus 50. Minus your 50. 130. Divide 65. On 13, says measure of angle 2 is x plus 40, so that's x plus 40. Then the other blank one got to be the 74. Isosceles triangles have their equal angles at the ends of the equal sides. So and you know, when you're doing the delta math or homework or whatever, if you just want to skip right to 40 plus 74 plus 74 is 188, I mean, that's okay. On the regions, though, you want to start with that. Anyway, subtract negative 8. And 14, measure of angle 2, so the 2 down here is x plus 48. Like we just said, the angles at the ends of your matching sides, those are equal. So 40 is equal to that x plus 48. Those are equal. Easy question. Subtract negative 8. Midpoint. Average your x's, average your y's. When you average, you add them up, divide by how many there are. There's only 2 x's, so divide by 2. 2 y's, divide by 2. So we got midpoint here equals -5 plus 0 over 2, then 4 plus 3 over 2. -5 over 2 is -2.5 or 2.5. 4 plus 3, 7 divided by 2, 3.5. Now, when you do this on 16, you get -1, -4. Again, you just add them up, divide by 2. 17, distance formula. So we get 2 minus 5, that whole thing squared, plus 0 minus 4, that whole thing squared. Now you can just type that right into your calculator, square root and all. This one works out to be a whole number. So when you type that in, you get 5. Now this one, round to the nearest tenth, so we should expect a decimal when I type it in. Same distance formula here. Now when you type that in, you get 13.15294644. We don't need that many, but round nearest tenth. Here's the tenth, but you look at the 5. 5 or above, give it a shove, so that's 13.2 when you round. Now the first one didn't say anything, so you expect a whole number. Second one said round nearest tenth. So we type it in now, 19. 19 says simplest radical form. So we fill in the formula like normal. 5 minus -6 is 5 plus 6. And then -6 minus -4 plus 4. When it says simplest radical, you can't type the square root in your calculator. Just type what's underneath it. So just the 5 plus 6 in parentheses squared, plus -6 plus 4 in parentheses squared. Again, we did not type the square root sign. You'll get a decimal if you do. Then we go to our list of perfect squares. Again, we're just squaring the counting numbers here. 1 times 1, 2 times 2, 3 times 3. Now you want the biggest one of those that goes into 125. Think of money. You have 5 quarters, you got $1.25. You put the perfect square first, because then you know that square root. That's 5, then just bring the other one down with you. It's just a coincidence that they're both 5s. 20. 20 says whole number. We got a right triangle, so it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. The only one that matters, c has to be the hypotenuse, the longest side, the side that's across from the box, has to be c. The other two doesn't matter. You could have 6 squared plus x squared, or you can have x squared plus 6 squared. Just that 10 has to go in for c. So we'll square those. 6 times 6, 36. 10 times 10 is 100. Minus 36. Square root both sides. Square root of 64 is 8. Nice, neat, whole number. (21). Oh, this time says simplest radical. 6 has to be c again. It's got to go in for c has to be the hypotenuse, the longest side. So we got a squared x squared plus 4 squared equals 6 squared. 4 squared is 16. Minus 16. Take the square root. But then we're not going to just type in square root of 20. We got to do simplest radical form. That's this list of numbers again. Well, 4 goes into 20, so we can have radical 4, radical 5. Put the square root, or the perfect square first, excuse me. Now I know the square root of 4 is 2. Bring the other one down. All right. 22. It says measure of angle EFG. So EFG, that's this one, that's 32. And AEG is 137. Find the measure of angle EGF. Well, that's down there. Now, we have a blank angle in our triangle. But that 137 plus this blank angle right here should give me 180 since they form a straight line. So we'll just go 180 minus 137. That's 43. But be careful. Choice 2 is 43, but that's not what we want. We want that angle at the bottom of the triangle. So we got to be careful. They'll put good-looking answers like the first number we got. They'll put those as choices. Make you think to pick them. Just be careful. And it's the 180 thing again now. Minus, you get 105. There we go. (23). It says, we have a transversal and we got 2 lines, PQ and RS. Now, the question down here says if TVQ, so that's this one, and VWS, where's that one? Which value of X makes PQ and RS parallel? Well, we know if those are parallel lines, the 2 angles we have should be corresponding. So they should be equal. If they're equal, that means those 2 lines are parallel. So we'll set them equal. Minus the 3x. Add that 22. Divide half of 32 is 16. Now 24, which value of x makes AB congruent to CB? So if these two sides are equal, it's an isosceles triangle, and if we follow those sides to their ends, the angles in the bottom corner have to be congruent. They got to be the same. That's how isosceles triangles work. I'll use y. I can't use x. There's already an x right there. So 62 plus 2y equals 180. Minus that 62, you get 118. Divide that by 2, 59. Now just be careful. That 59, that's right there. We want x. And again, they form a straight line. So 180 minus 59, 121. So our answer is 121.